So in today's video, I'm going to be showing you all how I make my dollar watches easier to service and maintain in the long run. And this mainly pertains to the dials and how they are affixed to the movement and how I improve the method of the way they are fixed. Sorry, that was kind of a long-winded explanation. But to start off with, these have little tabs, you can see. I know little Timex wristwatches are like this too. And these little tabs go onto the movement plates in these ridges, or in these divots here. And they just simply folded those over. Sorry about my fingernails, by the way. And they just simply fold them over. And, you know, if you want to service these things and keep them running, all that bending and unbending, bending and unbending, they're eventually going to fatigue and snap off, and that's kind of a big issue because you can't just contact any of these companies and be like, hey, I want a batch of these dials. That isn't the case anymore. So my way of preserving these things is to make them so they basically clip onto the movement. I've already done it with this dial here. Let's see. Sorry, it's horribly out of focus there. There we go. See how it's kind of bent like an S? What I do is, first of all, I straighten out the dial tab like this. Pretty simple. Then I'll bend it downwards. So this is the dial. Imagine if it's like this and there's your tab right there. I will bend it down, and then I will give it a little bend up. So it kind of has a spring latch sort of movement, or I guess effect, where when you slide the dial on, it that will bend outwards a bit, and then once the movement plate gets there, it latches in. Pretty straightforward. I'm sure you all knew that's how it works, but I thought I would just explain it. So I'm going to do it on this Biltmore dial for this Ingram Biltmore that I am working on. I use a pair of needle nose pliers. If you want to know the exact ones I use, it's Vintage H. Booker US, made in USA pliers. Very nice. So anyways, I start with straightening the dial out, and my camera's going out of focus. I straighten the tabs out. And I like to have a scrap plate so I can do all my test fitting and make sure everything's lining up correctly. Last thing you want to do is butcher a dial. I will actually zoom in here a bit. There we go. Lighting isn't the best, and I apologize for that. Try to adjust it. Okay. Yeah, so there's all the tabs straightened out. So this should just kind of sit onto the movement, and it does. But you can see the issue here is that it just kind of falls right back off. So now I will give these a gentle bend inwards. And sorry, my focus is horrendous here. Try to fix this. Oops. So I will bend that inward like that. And I just don't know what's going on with my focus. I really apologize. Let me clean my lens off. Okay. Apologies, but it's just gonna have to be zoomed out like that. So I bend the tab inwards like that. And obviously repeat it. Rinse and repeat for all 4 tabs, or however many tabs your dial has. And now what I will do is go a bit further in the edge of these and give them a little bend outwards, and you might kind of have to encourage them to bend down that way a bit too. And the focus here is exactly why I drew it out on a piece of paper. So you can kind of see how it's bowed inwards at the middle. The illustration on the paper was obviously exaggerated just for visual effect. Bent in. And now I will do it with this tab. I will try to make probably an improved video probably sometime in the future. Wow, yeah, my camera's freaking out here. I apologize for that. Now I will try fitting the dial again. And you can see it's snapping right on. Everything is lined up too. You can see straight through the pivot holes, and everything's all lined up. I will now remove it. And I go just like that. It is now much more serviceable, and I will do it one more time just to prove that you can pop this thing on and off a few times, more than a few times actually. I've done this multiple of my watches, and I've removed their dials probably a good dozen times without needing to rebend these tabs. And if you do need to rebend them, you just bend them in a bit like that and then curve it out like that. So that being said, this was a somewhat dumpster fire of a video, but I hope this helped somewhat with improving the serviceability of dollar watches. So thank you very much for watching. If you made it to the end, props to you.